Hey everybody, it's Matt from Made Up Movies. This is Mike Kolar.
Hey, from Made Up Movies, it's Mike Kolar.
And we are here to talk to you about our new Patreon page. We could really use your help getting some support for making this podcast. For $5 a month on our Patreon page, you get bonus episodes, a whole bunch of extra content, and lots of cool interactions with us. What's not to love?
What's not to love? There's a higher tier if you want to donate more and get your episode made immediately, but for $5, you get a lot.
Yeah, a ton of stuff. So check out patreon.com/madeupmoviespod, or you can find that link on our Twitter at madeupmoviespod. And yeah, $5 a month, a bunch of extra content. It's yours. Check it out. Made Up Movies Patreon. Thank you. Y'all hear that?
Made up movies, made up movies.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, made up movies, made up movies. Yeah, 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 yeah. Made up movies.
Movies in your face now, come and get an earful.
Made up movies, made up movies.
Hello and welcome to Made Up Movies. I'm your host, Mike Kolar. With me, as always, is the Brock to my edge, Catchem, Matt Shore. Couldn't say it. You're Brock.
I'm gonna use my Bulbasaur to take you down with Razor Leaf, my friend.
I thought he used stones. I thought it was all about onyx and stuffs.
Wait, did you say I was Brock or you were Brock?
I
want to
remember.
be Ash. Oh yeah, you said you were Ash. In
I'm
that
Ash.
case, yeah, I'm gonna use really poor choices against this 8-year-old who attacks my gym.
Try not to fall in love with Nurse Jenny constantly, you sleaze.
I do relate to Brock in terms of perhaps hitting on people too much. I'm working
Just
on
having
that.
hard eyes for everybody.
Yeah, right. All those similar Officer Jenny and Nurse Joy cousins.
Yeah. Why do they all look the same?
They're all related. They're just identical cousins.
Oh, that's weird. I never realized that was canon.
That's canon or something.
Anyway, we here on Made Up Movies, we review movies you may not have heard of because they don't exist, but you send them
fucking
in.
fake.
They're okay. Are they as fake as Nurse Joy and Nurse what is it?
Officer Jenny and Nurse Joy, and
Okay, and they're all twins. There's 100 twins.
Yeah, they're 100 identical twins or something. Probably
That's
a
cool.
jillion by this point, based on how long that show's been on the air. But yeah, we review all sorts of fake movies. You guys send in with your fake ass suggestions.
Why are you attacking the audience?
I don't know. I just feel like they could send us in more suggestions. If you got some ideas for more fake movie suggestions, send them to @MadeUpMoviesPod on Twitter. Send in, the title and the premise of a fake movie that doesn't exist in our dimension, and we'll go to the other dimension. And if you haven't been on our trips to the other dimension, check out our Patreon, where we actually go there. We check out the Mammoth Video app there, and we have some fun, my friend.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun in the other dimension. Better than this crap.
Lots of kittens and such. Big adventures.
We should go right now. We should just go
I
back
wish we
right
could. Wish we could. We have to listen to these audience suggestions. Oh boy, here we go again. All right.
Speaking of audiences, I don't use you. You are in charge of our Twitter, right? Is that correct?
Oh yeah, except for the tweets I attribute to you.
Okay. Where, you use my name and then I say these terrible things.
I love
don't.
blackface Kolar. That's what I say.
I've never said that. I've never said that.
The tweets disagree, my friends. And this
Don't.
is. I mean, you should see the things you say on our Truth Social account. That's where the
I
real.
don't even know what True Social is. It's
Trump's private social media that tells the real truth.
That sounds terrifying. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty fun.
Anyway, yesterday, I guess somebody said you were talking about politics, and somebody suggested that maybe I'm a libertarian.
Yeah, someone on Twitter accused you of being a libertarian.
And I think they were joking, maybe.
Yes.
But I realized that I don't actually know where I fall on the spectrum. The political spectrum.
I made a decision regarding that, but where are you going with this?
Well, I'm saying what I did was I found an online test for us to take, and we can figure out together where we are on the spectrum, the political spectrum.
But I don't think I'm in the same place that you are.
No. I think it's just, I would have you take it at the same, but I think it's easier if we just take it at the same time. So we'll just take it at the same time, and we'll figure out what we are, and then that way we'll know.
I think just keep in mind, audience, whatever he is, I'm like more of an activist and actually.
Well,
saving
we're
the
taking
planet.
the test together, so it's our answers combined.
I know, but just give me more credit.
All right, well, let's take the test then. Are you ready to take the test?
Give me the test. Yeah.
All right, what is your stance on taxes? All taxes are theft. Taxes should be low and should only fund necessary functions of government. Taxes are a necessary evil, but we are in a fight for survival against Alamo's fascism. We need a big military. The only legitimate tax is a tax on unproved land. There should be no taxation. Government should be funded voluntarily. Where do you stand on that?
Are those all one? Is that just one?
Oh, sorry.
One?
That is A, B, C, D, E.
Okay.
Yeah.
I personally believe that the wealthiest 1% should be taxed more, and we should fund amazing social works projects with that. So whichever one of those.
We're basically on the same.
Yeah, that's my belief. That's
all right.
My belief.
All right, so we're about the same. We're the same there. That's good. What is your view on the proper role of government in education? Number 1, education should be 100% privatized. Number 2, public education is a legitimate function of government, but it should be decentralized as much as possible. Number 3, vouchers are a good solution, at least for the time being. Number 4, public schools are a great place to recruit new soldiers for the war against Islamofascism.
Wait.
Said it again.
What are these fourth ones?
These fourth ones are a little on the nose.
Okay, I don't. None of those really reflect. I don't understand. I don't. Even
I'm just
going
to
to
say it should be 100% privatized because I don't really know the answer to that one.
No.
Okay, how do you feel about the military?
No.
Number 3,
oh my
the
God.
military is criminal by nature and should be abolished. Number 2, the government military should be replaced by competing private defense agencies. Number 3, the military should be used for our national defense only, not peerless defense. Number 4, we need a big military to preemptively take out potential enemies. And they didn't mention Islamic fascism that time, which is interesting. I'm sure they were going to.
I mean, this might scare. I think we need a big military, but I don't think we need to do preemptive strikes necessarily.
Okay, all right. Well,
I like big military as a deterrent. I mean, we have a lot of foes, but I think we do overspend on military spending. Sure. I think the idea we spend a lot on. I'm being too serious, aren't I?
No, we're on the same page. The military is a criminal by nature and must be abolished. I agree. Okay,
no, that's
number 4. What role should government spending play? Number 1, none. The government should be abolished. Number 2, very minimal on defense and other necessary and vital functions of government. Number 3, as little as possible, but we need the government to spend trillions on the defense in the name of freedom.
No.
What do you think? There's only 3 for that one.
It feels like this quiz is pretty stilted and written.
I'll just put very minimal. That's fine.
I guess. I mean,
all right. How important is the Constitution? Number 5. It is the highest law in the land and probably the greatest document ever written. It is probably the greatest document ever written next to the Bible. That's number 2. Number 3, the Constitution is okay, but allows the government too many powers. Number 4, the Constitution is completely irreverent. Liberty is supreme. Number 5, the Constitution is a death pact. Our number 1 concern is Islamofascism.
God damn it! Stop! No. The Constitution is a death pact? How could they say that?
I don't know what that.
None of these really reflect how I feel. I feel like you got this from a conservative
No.
site.
This Constitution is okay, but it has the government too many powers. I think is correct. I mean,
that's not correct. I don't think that's correct.
Constitution is completely irrelevant. Liberty is supreme. That's what I'll
That makes you libertarian.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. That's what it's... just wrap this up, okay? I'm getting upset.
All right, sorry. What are your feelings on immigration? And let me be clear.
Oh, no.
Let's just skip this one.
Is Islamofascism in there as well?
Islamofascist is in here as well. Yes, I don't want to...
we have something about caravans at the border and Joe Biden patting him on the
What are
back
your feelings in regards to corporations? That's number 7.
Negative.
They're illegitimate creatures of the state and would not exist in the absence of government. Number 2, corporations would exist in the absence of government, but corporate welfare, fraud, and abuse would not. Number 3, corporations efficiently allocate capital to represent a good, not an evil. Number 4, corporations or private businesses are good, but they may be regulated or to ensure national strength. Where do you think? Where do you stand on that?
I don't know. It feels like each successive answer assumes the previous one is also true and then takes it further. It doesn't seem like these are alternates. Or
Okay, well, I'll just put they are illegitimate creatures because they can't be people. Okay, what are your feelings on abortion? Let's just skip this one.
No, I have feelings on abortion. It's
to protect from Islamofascism. Is that what you're going to say?
What if the fetus is a Hitler, a Voldemort, or an Islamofascist?
Did you even think about that? Did you even consider that?
That might be the only way to change a conservative's mind. What if the baby grows up to be a liberal, though?
All right. Let's see. What are your feelings on the Libertarian Party in general?
Did you get this from the Libertarian website?
Well, the title of this is "What kind of libertarian are you?" So I figured.
Oh my god! This is why it's so stilted.
Well, I guess it's not. That's interesting. Okay. Which of the following candidates would you most likely see as president? A. Ron Paul. B. Steve Kuby. 3. George Phillis. 4. Wayne Allen Root. I don't know who any of those people are besides Ron Paul. So.
I don't know. Wayne Allen Root, I think, is like a John Birch Society guy. I want to say. Well, I'm going to say that John Birch Society is a school that was founded to specifically create more libertarians for young fancy boys in America.
Gotcha.
Learn more about it in Deep Money. A great book. Or I'm sorry, that's not the right title of it, but read that book anyway, whatever it's called. Dark Money? I don't know. Anyway, I think just give me my score. I want to see what kind of libertarian.
Okay, what kind of libertarian are you? I think I should have done like what are your policies? Like maybe this is too. I should have asked what kind of libertarian I was.
Yeah, you did a bad job. Good
news. We got anarchist because I cheated and made sure we got anarchist because we're punk rock as hell, baby. We're gonna stay punk rock as hell.
You hear that, Hard Times? I'm not the old fuddy-duddy one. I'm
anarchist.
The cool anarchist. So Steve Weisamples should be thrilled right now that
100% anarchist and a little geo-libertarian and a little paleo-libertarian. And no neo-libertarian, though.
Which means I only eat, like, caveman roots? Or does that mean I want to bang Sarah Palin?
I don't know what any of this means. I guess I just want to prove I wasn't libertarian, and in doing so, I proved how punk rock I am.
Basically, the libertarians created subcategories of libertarianism to make it feel like you have a choice, but you're just still going down the same checkout aisle no matter what. Cool.
What a good test. What a good test. I'm going to give it 5 stars.
No, please don't. Please only reserve those 5 stars for us on Apple Podcasts if you listen there. Please give us.
I think we learned a lot about how we are on the political spectrum today, sure. I think we learned a lot.
Yeah, you're on some kind of spectrum. I'll give you that much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Why don't we get to this
film?
To
Anti-Flag. Let's listen to Anti-Flag first.
Real big fish for me.
I mean, they still have the same thing. They love anarchy.
I guess. Gonna get
beer.
The bingo bongo spinner here. And so should we roll this bad boy up? We're all done with your politicality.
Well, I didn't mean to stress you out about it, and I didn't realize.
No, I just don't want to give their libs. Not the libs. Oh no!
Oh, okay.
Me too. I just accidentally owned the libs. How can they both be libs? Oh my god! All right, let's just watch a movie. That's what the show's purportedly about. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna spin this up. And Gerplow. All right, number 4,000. Wow, we're getting a lot of suggestions.
A lot of suggestions. Days. You were yelling that they're not giving us suggestions. We have too many suggestions.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of them are just Smash Trivia talking about how much he wants to bank She-Hulk, and it's not even really movie suggestions. It's just drawings, very vivid drawings. So I don't. Oh boy!
And I know that's you submitting those Balzac like the ones.
Well, that's sequels. Those are just things that I'm emailing to you because I want to get your feedback on on what color the various body parts should be. Fan art more, but okay. This one is number 4,000. That's This Magic Moment from Hard at Work Nick, and it is a 1980s style coming of age comedy about a group of teenage wizards trying to
Cool.
get laid before they graduate from Magic Academy.
Classic.
So it's like American Pie meets Hogwarts, I
That's
guess.
classic.
All right.
Is 1980s? Was it made in the 80s, or does it just say 1980s? Like, is it
It says a 1980s style.
Okay.
so I guess it's we'll find out. I guess.
we'll
All right,
find
let's
out,
put
yeah.
these headsets on, goggles, bingo bongo goggles, futurizers, and just gonna keep naming them until something sticks. And blick. Oh, okay, that's graphic. That is. Oh, this is gonna be one of those, isn't it?
It's kind of funny. It's like,
Yeah, of course you would like that. Oh, okay.
okay.
Oh,
Right.
okay. That's enough. All right.
All right. What's
like,
that?
Well, that was intensely graphic. I was
It's
expecting
like
something,
if Porky's was rated X. It's like rated X Porky's.
and it was obviously a modern film that was
Yeah.
set in the 1980s or some. Maybe it wasn't. It's hard to tell when it's like Hogwarts times, because this did feel very Hogwarts influenced, right?
I think it was modern, and then they were. Yeah, I think they were used. It was definitely Hogwarts. I'm saying they had to see Harry Potter. If this came before Harry Potter, that'd be insane.
No, there's no way. It was just
there's
done in the style of like
Yeah.
Porky's or Meatballs. Or,
They want that 1980s nostalgia money. I get it.
I think that was, and giving it that sort of 80s film grain and John Hughes style, I think was their way of saying, see, it's a throwback, so nothing we're doing is wrong or inappropriate.
It was the 80s. You can say whatever you want about Islamofascism.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like potion scenes where, or I mean, that key scene where our lead crew of wizards trying to get laid breaks into the potions class and conjures up a vat of cocaine. They're like, they say the Muggles use this to have wild, crazy nights, and then they just get really hopped up on cocaine and go crazy throughout their Hogwarts-esque castle.
It was accurate to doing cocaine. They would not stop talking. It's like that's all cocaine is. It's just talking over each other. It's terrible.
I mean, the rules, it's hard to tell sometimes when these like movies come from the alternate dimension, because it's like, well, maybe Harry Potter came out earlier or later, but there were a ton of Potter references in this movie.
one of the guys, they like every time they had like one of the characters was like Pothead, and he was like
oh yeah, Harry
Yes.
Pothead, which seemed to be but he was
direct reference.
but they spelled it Hairy, and he was just like super furry, like Robin Williams level furry. And I mean, the castle itself was called Snogwarts, as if it was
just.
Hogwarts for
I
kissing.
think they ripped a lot off of. They ripped a lot, but yeah, they.
So it's almost a parody film in
it's
a
a
way,
parody film, basically.
but in a very cursory way. It doesn't like really
it doesn't-
go after the whole epic story of it.
Sure.
It's mostly about them wanting to fuck and getting into.
Yeah, there's no Voldemort or anything. Like, there's not a.
There's
like,
bad guys, sort of, but they're just
Yeah.
like bad guys who are like prudes who don't want wizards to fuck. I mean, there's definitely a Snape analog in there.
Yeah, there's
Professor Snoop, right?
Yeah,
He's the
Professor
Snape.
Yeah, Professor
He's just
Snoop.
he's just like a blonde Snape, and you thought, and they also do that whole dance sequence where they make Professor Snoop into Snoop Dogg, and it's actually Snoop Dogg, and he does a whole rap at like the big winter formal at the end.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
It was just that was fine.
It was fine. I thought it was transcendent.
You're being sarcastic right now, right?
I don't know either. These movies are all so bad, I can't tell what's good anymore. But the fact that Snoop Dogg was there, I thought was good. And it's not a sign
Snoop
that
Dogg would do our show for like $100. It's not hard to get Snoop Dogg.
he's not a sellout. He does those commercials with Andy Samberg as a sign of the art that he believes in.
I think he is a sellout at this point. I think he's still cool.
No. No one who had done a drive-by or whatever would ever be a sellout. He's a real hardcore gangster who only cares about the music.
I don't think he is anymore. I think he was at one time, but I don't think he's a.
So
He does a show with Martha Stewart.
So there's a one thing I didn't expect. Yeah, he did do that Martha Stewart show.
It was a good show. It's a good show.
Was it? So there's a lot in this movie to unpack, but the basic thrust of it is that it's about this squadron of American Pie style for students who are trying to lose their virginity before they graduate, and even amongst the the other students there, they're all like prefect level, right? They're all about to graduate, so they would be like a senior year of high school in our universe.
They should have lost their virginity already, but they're a bunch of losers, basically.
Right, because the implication is that everybody at this school, finds there's like a magic room, sort of like in Harry Potter 5, was it? Order of the Phoenix, or the one where Harry starts his own requirement, right?
Right, requirement.
Isn't that it? It's like you find what you want, but they have like the bewitching chamber, which is just like a fuck pad that they just
where
like
people go to get laid. It's cool.
Yeah, it's just like
it's like make-out point inside the castle.
Right. And it only appears to people when they're ready to go all the way. So it's actually some consent-based magic, which is nice.
Which is nice, yeah. It's nice.
And there's like little, what do you call it, like house elf hobgoblin guys who like feed you grapes and like fan you and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I could concentrate on losing my virginity if there were little hobgoblins around. But I guess if like it's you're part of your culture and you're used to it, it's fine. It would just
okay. I was thinking about this the other day because I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, The Unexpectables, and it's a D&D podcast in which the characters went to a brothel of sorts, and two of the characters were too prudish to engage in the sensual activities, like the sex worker aspect of it. And so they just got like normal massages. And they had the sequence where two of the characters were like, you get to pick what kind of like, fictional D&D prostitutes or sex workers you would like to go with. And they started getting into a competing contest in character about like how many prostitutes they wanted and what variety and stuff. And it made me think if I was playing a game, or even if I was in real life in that situation, like a Westworld or whatever kind of situation, like what I would choose. And I chose, I was thinking like...
You answered your own question in your mind?
Well, I was just sort of like musing on it as, it was... I was just sort of cleaning up after listening to this, and
I didn't know if were you talking to yourself and you asked yourself a question in the mirror?
Well, I was at the drive-thru at Starbucks, and I was sort of like, well, my dear, you'll have to wait for my order, and people are honking behind me.
Yeah, there's always a line at Starbucks. People are always talking. Yeah,
and because I'm listening to a D&D podcast at the time, I'm also in character as my wizard Reginald, and so I was like, well, my dear, before I order one of your malodorous potions. That's not my Matt Berry. My Matt Berry is down here, my dear.
Sorry.
Check out my Matt Berry article from Collider right now. Plug. I'm very excited about that. And Father! But the whole thing made me think about, as I'm talking to the Starbucks lady in line and everyone's honking, it made me think like what I would like in this brothel situation. And I think this movie resurrected that thought to a certain extent, because it does sort of have like, it's not quite like exactly your fantasy. It's mostly the same bed, and I feel like the hobgoblins are just there to like feed you grapes and change the sheets in and out. And
it seems like they change the sheets, which is nice because there's a lot of people using that bed.
Yeah, it's just like, it feels like there's a lineup after some point. Specifically after that sequence where our characters basically use, they create a love potion, right? And instead of using it, they get into a big debate about like the ethics of using a love potion, because it's kind of, robs the person of consent and forces them to fall in love. And so they get into this big argument.
It was actually an interesting debate about. It was actually an interesting debate too. But yeah, I mean, it prevented them.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like if you spray someone, isn't that just kind of Cosby-ish to a certain extent? Is it like that different than roofies?
If they're not in control of their emotions, then that's even awake or not. They're not in control. Yeah.
So they
It's
get
a
into this
drug.
big. One of the guys, Harry Pothead, is so desperate to get laid that he's like, "No, it'll be cool. It'll be totally
Yeah.
cool. I swear." And so they get into this argument, and they're like fighting over sort of like a Moaning Myrtle style, like giant bathing pool thing, and like they dunk it in that, and the fumes go up into like some sort of filtration system, or like
Right.
I guess what do you call it, like a chimney system, and basically an entire floor of Snogwarts gets doused and gassed with this love potion.
Yeah.
And so rather than them using it on their intended targets, basically they inadvertently turn a floor of the school into an orgy.
Yeah.
And
that was crazy.
and like it results in everyone waiting in line outside this door for the bewitching chamber, and some people just can't contain themselves and they're just
No.
making out in line.
They're just sucking and fucking and right outside the line. It's fucking
One
it's gross.
one teacher actually gets permanently suspended because they try to make out with a student at one
with
point.
good cause. You can't make out with a student. I mean, and she's like, "Well, it's a love potion," but it's like, still, come on, you're a teacher. You
Yeah,
can-
still. I mean, that was it just
it was
felt
in your
like a little-
subconscious at least. That's where it was, right?
I don't know. At that level of
wait,
spell.
wait.
I feel like
you never
it's based
said
on proximity.
what is your
Okay.
thing? You never.
So, well, I'd like to describe. I'd like to discuss this with you and hear what you would think as well.
Oh, okay.
But I think if you've got these goblins, I think I would like. You said you wouldn't be able to. You said I think what you said was that you would get as limp as Moe's bar rag. From
I'm
The
saying if
Simpsons.
it was my first time having sex, I'm not saying
you would,
now.
you
I'm
would
saying
already
my
feel
first
some
time.
performance anxiety, and so I would probably want some sort of like Gilderoy Lockhart confidence potion to just
Yeah.
make me feel like a total Casanova. Maybe like a Nutty Professor or what's that machine that Urkel uses to change into Stefan? That's what I would.
It's just it's just a porta potty, I believe. But it's
Well, yeah. I mean, prop wise, yes.
yeah,
it is
prop wise, it's just a porta potty.
just a porta
And
potty.
Jaleel White is just a good actor, so that's how he did that.
Yeah, he's Sonic the fucking Hedgehog on two
so-
consecutive series. He's the man.
Yeah.
But I think if there were little hobgoblins there, and I was feeling at my most confident, like say I was with someone I loved very much, or even it was just like
Or you slip them a love potion, right?
No, I don't think I would do that. I think what I would do is if I was with either someone I love very much or with a sex worker I paid to pretend to love me very much, I
Same thing.
would still have I would still have one of the hobgoblins I would pay them extra. I would give them like a pair of socks or whatever they need.
Then
Actually,
they wouldn't do it. They'd be free.
yeah, then they wouldn't
have to do it.
I would promise them socks if
Yeah.
they would sit
Yeah.
in a chair in the corner and play the cuckold and
Oh,
be there
okay.
and just like weeping, and midway through the intercourse I would turn to them all Patrick Bateman looking at himself in the mirror while flexing and be like, "You see this? You can't have this. You'll never have this." And part of my thing would be just demeaning them and almost
Yeah.
like a wrestling heel, being like,
like
"This
that.
is- "You
That's,
want her? You'll never have her."
That's hot. That's hot. I don't. That's a good fantasy. That's a good fantasy.
See, that's not bad. That's not
not
bad.
bad.
It's weird, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
No,
that
it's not
crazy.
terrible.
But I think
I would want them now, not back then. But I guess I would think
Back
I'd want
then?
them to like like I would just use them as like a fluffer.
I don't know. I feel like hobgoblin. I mean, they'd be oiled up, right?
They're oiled up.
'Cause-
Yeah, they're constantly
Okay,
oiled. I guess here's the
'cause-
thing. These hobgoblins have to do whatever you want, right?
Well, I'm just saying, like, certain creatures have like scaly hands.
I know, but what I'm saying is wait, you
Oh.
think they have scaly hands?
I'm saying if I don't know what the rules are, and I've been doing a lot of D&D stuff lately, and I'm just saying if house elves are anything like kobolds and they have any lizardy features to
Oh.
them, then they might have rough, scaly hands that would be not conducive to a human's pink, flesh.
Yeah. All right, well, maybe I don't want them to. Well, fluffer, they can just use their mouths. That's fine.
Perhaps,
I don't know, maybe.
perhaps they could conjure some sort of like, in the way that there's a talking sorting hat, maybe there's like an oven mitt, like a lubed up oven mitt that could fly over.
They have very powerful magic. Yeah, that's canon. But they just can't use it because they're, I guess, enslaved.
So back to J.K. Rowling a little bit.
What's her deal?
What's her deal? I mean, between the like weird Jewish stereotype bankers and the slaved house, like the slavery, the act of slavery. That seems weird. But also, did you notice in the news lately, did you hear about Rowling's latest book?
Oh, she wrote a book about... Yeah.
She wrote a book under her pen name about a creator who does like a web series who gets put under fire for making gender-related jokes about a hermaphroditic
she said it wasn't.
worm.
She said it wasn't about her life.
I don't know, but yeah, it seems like.
I mean, it's definitely about her life. What is she talking about?
I don't know. She's lost it. She's
lost
really
her
lost
mind.
it. Imagine feeling that like. That's like some Elon Musk level. Like, I'm rich. Why doesn't the world love me? It's like you're already super rich. Like, just fuck off.
Just
like,
keep your mouth shut. You created the most magical world in a long time.
Yeah,
just shut up.
Stop retconning stuff and making us hate you. Just shut the fuck up.
Just shut up.
You did it. You did something that most writers can only dream of. Take the win and fuck off. Like, stop.
Don't get it. Yeah, I don't understand.
Okay, so we should talk a little bit about our main characters.
Now I feel bad about making that house elf blow me.
Well, I think the rules of Snogwarts are a little bit different than the rules of what if I got the vibe of these sort of like half puppeted in certain scenes, CGI in other scenes. They looked like yellow hobgoblins, and they didn't seem like slaves. They seemed like
they were happy to be there, right? They seemed happy to be there.
They seemed a little bit more than happy to be there. Yeah. They seemed like barely containing their own lustfulness, as if at any point you were like midway through the sentence, like, "Hey, maybe you could join it." They'd already be like,
"They would." Okay, good. That's the vibe I got. I just want to make sure that was clear. That I want them to be into it too.
I feel like they either come with the room as magical, concoctions
in
themselves.
The room.
Well, they definitely do in between each cleaning, because it's like, we're going to clean this anyway. And they've seen some shit, They all have dark circles under their eyes, and they look severely dehydrated. And there's just that like, it looked like a paper towel dispenser, but it was just beef jerky. And I assume the hobgoblins just did that.
I like the Flintstones reference when one of them said, "It's 11," and he just
that was great.
That was funny.
Yeah, it's just some disgusting mixture of lube and human substances.
He loved it. He loved it.
So what sort of like our core trio in Harry Potter, there is a female member, which I found I guess vaguely progressive for an American Pie style thing, where it's like at least one of the ladies gets to be.
I feel like they made an American Pie with just the ladies probably at this point, because there's like 25 of those movies.
Well, yeah, they did make that one recently. I haven't seen it, but maybe
why
5
would
or 6
you?
years
Why would
ago.
you see an American Pie movie
well,
recently?
it wasn't straight up American Pie, but it was that premise. It was like, I think it was called Blockers, like Cock Blockers.
Oh, okay.
And it was like John Cena's one of the parents, and it was like 3 kids, 3 female girls who all want to lose their virginity on prom night, I believe. Yeah. And their parents become like helicopter parents who like follow them around and try to stop them, I believe. And that's in our dimension. That's not in the fictional dimension. That's I believe. It sounds made up. It does, because it's a movie that's a comedy. It sounds like
starring
it shouldn't
John
exist.
Cena as a dad trying to. Okay, whatever.
Hey, John Cena's in Daddy's Home too, as well. That's when you start.
I know about Daddy's Home too. I just didn't know about his other movie.
You know, of course, about the Mel Gibson one. Jeez.
Mel Gibson one?
Daddy's Home too.
Is that
famous? Still at the height of controversy comeback, Mel Gibson in that movie, looking like very angry and horny to be there in a weird. He always looks red faced and like manic in every scene. It's very uncomfortable. As Mark Wahlberg's dad in that.
What a talented lunatic.
Okay,
Jeez,
so we have Joey, who's like the main Harry Potter analog, really. In it, he's like again anyone who's like who would be brunette in Harry Potter is blonde in this one, as if
they
they're
just
trying
reversed
to
the hair
skirt.
colors, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's sort of like the well-meaning one who doesn't want to dose everyone.
He's like, what's his face in American Pie? He's like the main guy dating Tara Reid.
Jason Biggs.
Jason Biggs.
And then there's like the dumb one who I guess is the Ron analog, who's a lot more hyper in this version, and is sort of like
What's
paint
his name?
him.
It's not
not
like
Ron.
It's like Randy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Randy. That's like the whole bit of it. Is that
Randy.
he's like, it's Randy. Oh, I'm Randy. No, it's Randy because he's Randy, right? And he's like, which means.
That was the pitch in the room. Yeah, he's Randy because he's Randy.
It's something like Randy, but not as obvious. And then they just stuck with Randy. And it's so so Randy is like super hyper. He had sort of the energy of Gandhi in Clone High, where he was just like bouncing off the walls a little bit. And he kind of reminded me of Beavis a little bit too, where he's very just stupid. Like gets really amped up all the time. And he's the kind of student who's like at some point he's like humping tables or his chair. Like he's one of his recurring bits is that if you hear an object being humped, it's Randy.
He's supposed to be like the Sean William Scott character, but he's just so fucking obnoxious the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he's on 11 the whole time, and it is exhausting.
And we should also note that this is like, even though it's clearly modeled after Hogwarts, it is American, so nobody has the British accent. So really,
nobody has British accents. I think Harry Potter like slips in and out, but I don't know if he's doing that if he's just like
Harry Pothead. You mean?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think I don't know if he's like doing it on purpose. Like he just forgets that he's like.
Not to reference an episode that the Poors haven't listened to, Blade Surfers, which is maybe our greatest episode of all time, which is only available on the Patreon. Yeah. He's sort of a wingo. He's a bit of a wingo. Yeah, he's a bit of a wingo. He's just sort of there to be the even dumber one.
He makes jokes when he can get a word in edgewise over fucking Randy, basically.
And then there's Jessica, who's the
Hermione-ish.
Yeah, Hermione. She's just sort of like the lovable one who you sort of assume is going to have a love story with Joey and Jessica together.
Yeah. It's like, when are they going to get together?
Right. Come and they're both nervous and they keep making making subtle eyes at each other and being like, well, I'd like to do it with someone I love. And they will like glance at each other and like little flourish of music, and then Randy will come in and like make a Joey from behind and be like, "Yeah, love," and just freak out. Yeah, it's a little. So I mean, a lot of the beginning of the movie is them being taunted by. There's not like specifically a Malfoy-esque character, but there are sort of like Crabbe and Goyle, like jock goons who are like,
it doesn't seem like they're not in different houses necessarily, right? It's just like
there are different houses, but they definitely don't go into it.
Yeah,
I think at some point they reference that there are, but it's not clear that like it's not.
I think there's like 3, and I don't even remember what they are.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, like I don't really. Think they cared that much. They just wanted. It's like a lot of the Harry Potter stuff in this. They weren't about expanding the lore. They were mostly about the sex comedy elements. They just wanted. Well, Harry
it's like
Potter
fans. Name a Hufflepuff or a Ravenclaw besides Cedric Diggory. You can't.
I don't know any of them. What was Cho Chang? She was
Cedric
Scottish.
Diggory was in Hufflepuff.
Okay.
No, he's dead.
Yeah. No, he's dead. They slit his throat from ear to ear. Hey, I'm trying to eat my lunch.
He's dead. I don't know what Cho Chang was in. I forget. I think maybe she was Ravenclaw, but I can't remember.
She's from the Shrek house.
Also, who cares?
Scottish.
Harry loves Ginny. Harry loves Ginny the
You're
most.
just all about these decade-old spoilers today. I can't believe
Oh, I'm
it.
sorry. Read the books. They're 25 years old, probably.
Really? I just died inside.
Probably. Probably old as hell.
So, I mean, the main
They're older than J.K. Rowling's worldview.
Nothing.
That's how dated those books are.
Yeah, I guess that's it. It's kind of like a Kanye thing where she's just like, well, I became successful at this year, and that's when I stopped changing.
When I turned off my brain.
It's like if Stephen King had never stopped doing cocaine. And he's just like,
man,
nope,
he'd be dead right now. Because he was doing a lot of cocaine.
He would be undead. He would be zombie Stephen King and still writing and still
He'd still be
out
right, to be fair. Yeah, he'd still somehow be right, but he's alive on cocaine.
He's like listening to this right now. He's like, that's a great idea for a book. No, stop. You can't keep cracking these out. You'll explode. So the main thrust of it is that they are, they get taunted by these bullies who are like, that group of dorks will never, they're sort of like a Stranger Things crew of dorks. And, they're constantly like in their, I guess their house chambers or whatever, playing board games and,
not snogging. They're basically
not snogging. And they're like, wow. I think what sets them off is that there's there's a student who's like a transfer, who's like a sophomore, who on their second day, they're this kid who's like super handsome, and on his second day he goes into the bewitching chamber with a senior girl. And the guys are just like, even that kid, even this new kid gets laid and we can't.
He gets laid, you can't. Then that's when they make the pact. Basically, it's a blood pact too, which I thought was cool.
And they try to exclude her at first, but like Elaine Bennis, she's like, no way, I'm in on this too. I'm tired of.
I want double odds, double or nothing.
She holds them accountable because she's always hanging out with them, and so no other guys approach because they're sort of social dead weight.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I don't want to be seen with those nerds.
Exactly.
Even if you are moderately attractive in an unconventional way, and maybe you just need to take your glasses off and poof your hair up.
Oh my god, yes. That's what I would have. I'd have a hobgoblin dressed like a sexy librarian, also in the corner, so that like when I'm yelling at the one I'm cucking over, she's just there going, shh, shh. Do I have to take my hair down?
This is a library. Stop banging.
Yeah. I'd want them to dress it up like a library, and cool. I'd want it to be like the really mean librarian at Walsh Jesuit. And that's also
because I didn't spend time in the library.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
What is that?
We had a
library.
Oh my god! I guess I do too. Apparently,
yeah, we're both anarchists. It's fucking cool, man. Embrace it.
I'm okay with some taxes. You are an anarchist.
Well, to be fair, I cheated on the test.
Jeez. So they basically are. They each have like somebody who's like their dream person, I guess.
You mentioned that the pact they make is a blood pact, and if they don't lose their virginity, they die. Like, it's a serious pact.
Yeah, that was the weird part. It seemed completely unprompted, I think it was, like, inadvertently so, right? Yeah. They were trying to do some sort of magical pact that would create a symbol on each of their hands so that they know if someone is telling the truth or not. Like,
they did the magic a little wrong, and they
but Harry Pothead's the one who finds the incantation in some, like, old occult book. It's like a dark arts book. And so they have a real ticking clock on losing their virginity, which also puts extra pressure on them to do it, and to succeed, which again, like, just makes them have more performance anxiety and so
forth. It's hard. It's hard to think you're gonna die if you don't have sex. It's terrible.
And it's like, I guess there's this, there's this girl who's like I don't know, the most sought after girl in their class who's currently single because one of the jocks dumped her or something like that.
They broke up,
And so the three guys are very much like in this very machismo, like one of us should try to get with her. And like Joey sort of has this like, they've shared notes in class and stuff, not love notes, but just like test notes kind of thing.
Right.
And so
yeah, they're on a friend level. They're on a little friendly co-classmate level. Yeah.
And she's just friendly to him, and he's just, she's talking to me. But he also has this sort of like romantic, tingling feeling in his loins for Jessica. And so, but the other guys don't even see Jessica as a girlfriend material. They just see her as another one of the dorks. And so
the amount of time they refer to their penises as their wands is, I think I lost count.
I forgot to mention this, but the worst sequence for me of the movie is when they're like, when Harry Pothead's like, we need to make ourselves more masculine, and Randy agrees, and they're like, yeah, that's it. We're just not as strong as the other guys. And so they're like, they go through this like spell book, and it's like all these different things, like how to give yourself big muscles and stuff like that. And they find one that's like how to make yourself super long downstairs. Yeah. And so they're like, oh, hell yeah, we are going to do this. And so they sneak into Joey's room. Joey does not want to be a part of this, but they don't want to leave him out.
Well, I think the issue with Joey is he already has like a pretty big penis, and he doesn't want to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I gathered. I could be wrong.
Maybe. It's possible. But for whatever reason, they, without his consent, sneak into his room and cast the spell while holding his unconscious hands. So all three of them get this spell that only affects their genitals. Yeah. And this prolongs what might be a 15-minute, or provokes what might be a 15-minute sequence of our characters with... the spell goes wrong, okay? Yeah. And their penises start to transform into different creatures. Yeah. And this was one of the most disturbing and the part of the movie where I'm like, well, I no longer like this movie. I hate this right now. I mean, Randy's penis becomes a frog, which pulls him around and hops, and this is like a giant frog.
Yeah, but the issue isn't the creature. The issue is like these creatures are like, it's like a penis frog. Like it still looks like a penis. It's just like frog.
It's
like,
super
still veiny,
grotesque,
and it's disgusting.
And it's like in this horrible CGI, but it pulls him around the room, and Harry Pothead turns into an anaconda, like a giant. What's the snake in Harry Potter?
Anaconda.
Well, it don't want none unless she's got buns on. He does say that.
I don't know if the snake is. I think it's just a serpent.
But you know the snake in Harry Potter that I'm talking about? Nagini.
Yeah.
Nagini.
Nagini.
So it turns into a giant Nagini-style snake and starts choking him, so he becomes choked by his own genitals in some sort of the boys style.
Well, it makes him. Well, the issue is like it's not an issue, but like it makes him, when he chokes himself out, it makes him come, which is like gross. It's like he keeps doing this autoerotic thing to himself and he can't stop it.
Yeah, it's like Randy, after he beats his own frog unconscious, he tries to pull the snake off of Harry Pothead's head, and Harry Pothead's like, "No, stop! I'm almost there."
He likes it. He likes it, which is fucking weird.
But poor Joey, who doesn't know even what's going on, his penis turns into a gargoyle, and it flaps out and pulls him out the window, and he starts screaming bloody murder, and suddenly his entire house, including both the girl who they all love. Wait, what's the girl who they all love's name?
Jessica.
It's like
no,
that's
Melinda.
Jessica's the girl in their group. What's her name? Melinda. And Melinda is like the hottest girl in the class, so to speak.
She's Tara Reid, baby.
I guess.
Old Tara Reid, not Tara Reid now.
And oh my god, if there was a shark-based Fastnado that you could ride, the mind boggles. But
was Tara Reid in Fastnado?
No, Tara Reid was in Sharknado.
Oh yeah. I thought she was in Fastnado.
Well, I was reading up on it afterwards because I'm a big Fastnado buff now, and apparently they wanted Tara Reid to play the Virgin Mary, but she was unavailable because she wanted the Virgin Mary to have more sex in the movie. So it was
She just
a little.
doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it.
I mean, she can get it, but she does not.
No, I'm saying I just don't feel like she doesn't understand like normal things about.
But she can get it. But so anyway, Joey gets pulled out the window by his gargoyle wang, and the gargoyle perches on the highest tower of Snogwarts, and he is hanging from his wang like some sort of distended Spider-Man, while everyone in school is laughing at him as he's shrieking, and the gargoyle's up there, and they have to have like their janitor, their Willie. He reminded me of Willie. Is like whoever their version of, what's the janitor in Harry Potter's name? The guy who's Crookshanks. You know who I mean?
Is the cat. I know who you mean.
Right. But like that guy, the groundskeeper, who's like more of a Scotsman and more like groundskeeper Willie in this. And I'm just realizing now they didn't really have a Hagrid in this too. That could have been an opportunity.
No
for
Hagrid.
something.
It's probably for the best because he would have. I mean, he could have given. There should have given him someone to give him advice. Harry, what you got to do
is
called him
Hagrid and just had him talk about his enormous wang the entire time.
He's just got a huge dick. Yeah, that's fun.
Let's see that fan art.
It's just a little boy, Harry. I'm half giant. You want to know which half, Harry?
It's me lizard, Harry.
It's me lizard. Gotta train the lizard, Harry.
Oh no!
Yeah, what a missed opportunity for them to not.
What a missed opportunity, and so yeah, that's when he's super embarrassed and realizes basically this is one of those sequences where he realizes he was at that point I think going to ask Melinda to the dance, but I don't think there's any chance of it now, and that just makes them even more social pariahs. And yeah,
the guys with the weird dicks is what they're called at this point.
Yeah. I don't want to get a wart. It's no longer a frog, and then it ribbits. He's like, okay, it's no longer a big.
There's
frog.
some residual effects from the spell. It's not that bad.
Yeah. And Jessica has a guy that she likes, who I guess is sort of the Cedric analog.
Well, yeah,
right?
everybody loves Twilight, man.
And what was interesting is that they do have a Hogwarts analog, but it's just soccer. It's like they didn't want to do a whole flying thing.
Well, they're like carry brooms, but they don't fly.
They hit the soccer balls with brooms, like it's lacrosse. But then the brooms have powers. They imbue them like magic weapons, and they
it's easier,
set the ball on fire.
Like just like as like a CGI level, it's easier to just like make stuff come out of a broom than it is to make somebody fly.
Yeah.
I think.
Throw that in After Effects, then we don't have to CGI the whole character models and put people in wires for different stuff. And to be fair to them and budget wise, it makes sense because it's not like there's a whole whatever. They don't even name the sport. I don't think. I'm not sure. I didn't hear it, but like they. Whatever sport they're playing is only in a couple, like Jessica goes out to see him after practice, kind of things. And like similarly, I mean, she's trying to do, Hermione does this at a point, right? Where she like tries to make her features with magic in the real book like more attractive. I believe
she turned herself into a cat accidentally because she got the wrong hair from the Polyjuice post.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. That's funny.
Yeah, she turns herself into a cat.
But yeah, so Jessica is likewise trying to make herself. She notices that Cedric likes this particular girl.
His name is just Cedric, by the way. They didn't change it. I don't think it was.
Yeah, they didn't change it. I was gonna say that's why I've been so confused about Cedric Diggory, because it's like, they just call him Cedric. Like there's no. They just gave up at some point after Randy.
He's just some handsome, fucking pale-looking man.
So anyway, Jessica finds out that Cedric's really into this sporty girl on the team, and so she creates a potion for herself that'll make her more athletic, but it goes haywire.
It's weird because like these are like the nerdiest kids in school, but they cannot get their magic right. They like they're supposed to be a bunch of Hermione's.
Millhouse. I think it's like Millhouse, where it's like they're. I'm not a nerd. Nerds are smart,
but they're so confident in their like magic abilities, and they're just not that good at it. It's kind of embarrassing.
Well, also, I think it's also that they're using stuff that's like outside of their learning set, and
maybe.
stuff
they're using dark arts and potions are hard to make.
Well, basically, and also they just don't know the amounts yet because they're testing them. They haven't tested them on anything. So it's like she takes this potion that she wants to make her into more of a She-Hulk. Okay, I can feel Smashy getting excited from here. And she becomes a Super Hulk, like Mr. Hyde in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen monster. And just like, she's like, hey, can I play? And then pops the thing and just destroys the other team. So they're all in like casts and stuff. And like ends up injuring Cedric as well.
Right.
He's got like a neck brace and is in a wheelchair for the final dance.
It's interesting. Like I liked the that was like pretty good CGI actually. I don't know if they used miniature people to like miniatures. It was good. That was like the best CGI in the whole movie, I feel like.
Well, yeah, they bulk her up and make her crazy big, and then they'll like push in on what looks like the actress's face and maybe a big prosthetic rig in front of a blue screen
that might be
for like the close-ups of her freaking out, and then she's just like decimating people left and right and like chewing on the fucking nets and stuff. Like she's going crazy, and again they bring in some like Griffin riders who come in and like shoot nets at her just to keep her down. And
it seems like, it seems like whatever they do, they can't anytime they try to do something to make a gamble to get love, it backfires tremendously. And that's when they do the cocaine party and that
the cocaine party. Yeah, and that just ends up with them like writing screenplays in their dorm.
Yeah, they just write screenplays for an hour. It's like, have I got a good idea?
Oh, I've got a good idea. And ends.
That's what I'm saying. It was very accurate to cocaine.
That sequence ends with Joey and Jessica drugged up and making out, and it also ends up with Randy and Harry Pothead making out too.
Yeah,
like they're also drugged up. They're can't
all drugged
contain
up
themselves. Yeah, and then they wake up and they're all like really embarrassed, and like the next day is like the winter formal.
Right. And this is the last day, otherwise dead. So they gotta figure it out.
They're gonna die. And so they're all at the dance, and for whatever reason, they're just trying to ignore that the day before didn't happen. And so
they're just embarrassed. They're embarrassed by their own love for each other, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah. And also because they weren't really themselves too, and they were so amped up that they couldn't control their
cocaine, not fun to have sex on.
I will take your word for it, good friend.
Sorry. Did I say cocaine? I meant, do you have any cocaine that I have? Can I have some cocaine?
Are you in a polyjuice relationship right now?
No. Can I have, do you have cocaine? That's why. Could you keep asking?
The only ones I had were from the Death Sticks in that one episode, and that's not, well, anyway, that we should talk about the big conclusion, which is that while some other students prank basically after the sequence in which earlier they did the love potion and everybody went crazy on the bewitching room, they basically, the Professor Snoop has locked it down and won't let them into it, and so they're like, we're doomed, we have nowhere to go.
Where are we going to do our finger in shenanigans?
And how am I going to get my wand wet?
Yeah, god damn it, they say wand so many times.
So they that's when they sort of luck out in that the bullies also want to get laid for the millionth time, and so they cast a spell. They basically spike the punch and turn Professor Snoop into Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, that was cool. Cool spell.
And so they get him to...
I think it was like a chill-out spell. Was that what it was? Like,
I guess. To make the party more funky.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
and so he ends up like... He's wearing the key to the room around his neck, and he ends up flinging it in the air as
and he does a pretty good Jamaican accent, which I thought was a little strange.
I'd be from Jamaica, man.
It's like, okay, I guess it's Snoop Dogg, so it's fine.
Yeah, and he has vampire fangs still. I don't understand.
They're just sort of Like, what's the coolest thing we can make Snoop Dogg? Oh, a Jamaican vampire.
He keeps saying Jamaican me crazy over and over too. It's really stupid.
He's great. He's the best.
Well, anyway, our heroes grab the key and realize they have no one else, and so they decide they're going to have a 4-way orgy in the bewitching room to lose all their virginities together.
It's kind of sweet. Like, it's like, if you're painting it in a disgusting way, but I feel like it was kind of sweet because it's like they do love each other. Like, they all are friends,
yeah,
so
it turns
nice.
It turns out that Randy and Harry Pothead actually are both either gay or bisexual and have feelings for each other beyond just being crazy horny, and because they always got along really well in the movie to that point, and you know, these long I was gonna say long lingering
fingers?
These long fingering feelings that Joey and Jessica have had for each other. You know, they mount into something special.
I guess it's sweet, but also it is very graphic. The actual orgy is a very graphic scene.
Well, yeah, they're all super naked, and they are all and remember this is another one of those movies where it is adults playing the teen characters. Yeah. So this isn't some.
But I don't know who played the Hobgoblins. I think it might have been
the Hobgoblins were all Tony Shalhoub. Believe it or not, he did the mocap.
That's why it looks so familiar. It's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just little Tony Shalhoups. Okay. I was like, why can't I place this guy?
Yeah, I mean, they make them look like hobgoblins, but he's like doing like the facial expressions and stuff like that.
God, it was such a good show that I never saw.
I know. And oh, do you think that's why the main hobgoblin was named Spunk?
Probably. Well, I think there's 2 reasons for that because Spunk and Spunk.
So that's basically we forgot to say the name of this film, I think. I don't think we...
What? We said it. The Magical Mystery Tour or something.
It's called This Magic Moment, in case you want to rent it if you're in the other dimension at Mammoth Video.
Then they rip off Harry Potter at the end, though, like the end credits, where it's like years later, and they're waiting to watch their kids go on the train.
Oh, yeah. And they just, like, hand them a giant roll of condoms. You're gonna need a freeze frame.
That's so weird.
They play ABC 1, 2, 3.
That's the biggest ripoff. Sorry, what'd you say?
They play ABC 1, 2, 3 as our 4 heroes in a polyamorous relationship.
But it seemed like Randy and Harry Potter had it's like they all were together sending their kid. It's like, did they live?
Like, they live together. They're
a quadruple?
Yeah.
What are
that was my understanding.
That's what I thought. Okay, I'm just making sure that we're on the same page. Okay.
Because Joey says they do like an exposition dump at the end. It's like, you're looking rather dashing. It's like, well, I am the Minister of Sexual Affairs.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Why would they need that?
Are they all Jessica's kids, or I don't understand.
No, I don't think so. Okay. I think they just all had various children from their various trysts as well. I don't want to get into the genetics of it. It's disgusting enough as it is. But
you sound like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I know. I just believe that since one of them is a ginger, should they really be mixing the creatures?
Yeah, you ain't wrong.
Platform 6 9/4. Is that?
Yeah, I think that is what it said. It's so stupid. It's such a cheap shot.
So that's This Magic Moment. How would you rate this movie out of, would you say it's a limp biscuit or does it go all the way?
I mean, it goes all the way, but it gave me some weird feelings that it was fine. It was fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it gave me some
pretty middle of the road comedy, but also like very graphic. Which it's nice that other dimensions aren't offended by nudity and stuff like that, because it's natural. It's natural to have sex with 3 of your other friends in a room full of hobgoblins.
Yeah, I mean, goblins are cool, but I think I would say I would give it an 8 out of 10 if there was a less graphic cut of the genital transformation scene. That scene really grossed me out for a lot of reasons.
So gross.
I like the gargoyle and him dangling. I think that's a funny image.
It was funny, but it's just make it a gargoyle. Don't make it a penis gargoyle. Don't make it what a deformed penis would look. It was gross.
Yeah. it was pretty out there. So, yeah, I would say it's probably a 5 or 6 out of 10 because of that. But I had fun with it. I had fun watching it, and I had fun discussing it with you. Speaking of people named you, if you at home are interested in sending us a made-up movie, go on to Twitter at Made Up Movies Pod on Twitter and send us the premise and the title of a made-up movie. And we might just discuss it on the show. And if you could be so kind as to help support our show by giving us 5 stars on any of those podcast platforms, leave a positive rating or review if you enjoyed it. And check out our Patreon, because we've got some really good stuff there and some good stuff coming. Bunch more episodes should be out by the time this one comes out. So yeah, that's really exciting. And yeah, I guess I'm a libertarian anarchist now. So thanks for that.
You're just an anarchist. You're not a libertarian anarchist. Don't worry.
I don't think you can walk out of that test without being slightly libertarian, even cheating. I think we're on a mailing list now.
Ah, crap. I did have to enter my email to get the test. And yours. I emailed
Why
yours.
is my social security number on the screen? That's weird.
Fine. Don't worry about it. Governments aren't real.
Oh, my God. All right. That's it for this week. Bye-bye.